All right, we're doing episode 3 here of how to run a handyman business and um, why your handyman business is gonna fail or how to make it succeed. And as you could tell, these videos aren't scripted or anything like that. These are just my experiences. I jotted a couple of things down. I'm trying to trying to encourage some of you guys. Try to give you some pointers that I've learned. Uh, Obviously, everything that I've learned from me might not work for you guys, but I'm just trying to be a little bit helpful here. So the third thing I wanted to talk about is you don't have to know everything. And as a handyman, one of the biggest pitfalls of being a handyman is not being able to say no. When I first got into this business, if somebody asked me to dig a hole, I'd dig a hole. If somebody asked me to stain a piece of furniture, I'd stain a piece of furniture. If somebody asked me to put on a roof, I'd put on a roof. If somebody asked me to jack up their house, I'd jack up their house. And I just thought it was just important for me to be able to do everything and to have the tools to do everything. And I had to know everything. And if a customer asked me a question, I had to have the answer. There's no way that as a handyman that I could be in business if I just didn't know everything there was to know about everything there was to know when it come to your house. Um, and that is one of the biggest pitfalls of being a handyman is the idea that you have to know everything and that you have to do everything. Especially when you're first in business, you want to tell your customer that they found the perfect person to maintain their house and they found the perfect person to do everything around their house, and they're never ever going to have to go ever find anybody else to do anything around their house ever. Well, that's just wrong. Because the first thing is you don't know everything. And the more you learn, the more you're going to learn that you don't know everything. This is a thing they call the Dunning-Kruger effect. And I might be pronouncing that wrong. You can go look it up on the internet. And they got graphs and everything. But the bottom line is the more you know, the more that you don't know. And you don't know everything. You don't know every system. You don't know all of. There's a million billion products out there that people put in their homes. And it's not your job to know everything that there is to know about everything. You're going to learn new stuff along the way. You're going to improve. You're going to go from digging holes to doing high-end kitchens. You're gonna trend in that direction. Maybe you quit or get old before that actually happens. Um, but you're going to learn new stuff and you're going to graduate. When you're first starting out, you're not going to get the premium jobs. You're going to get the crappy jobs. The plumber's going to give you a reference because he doesn't want to change out that toilet because he knows how shitty that job is. And that's the job you're going to get, and you're going to have to put on your waders and get down there and do some pretty crappy jobs. Um, that's just how life is. You start at the bottom and you work your way up. If you're coming into this business thinking you're gonna do high end kitchens right off the bat, you've got a hard lesson to learn. So the bottom line is though, you don't know everything. And when you tell a customer that you know everything, if they believe you, they're stupid. And if they don't believe you, they're not going to hire you. So let me give you this piece of advice. When you go into a customer's house and they ask you questions about their heating system, and then over into the plumbing department, and then about a knock in their water system or something like that, and then they jump over to carpentry, and they jump from this to that, and there's a leak in their roof, and they're just going all over the place, and they're sporadic. They're doing one of two things. They're either testing you to see if you think you know everything and you don't, or to see if you're going to say, nope, I don't do that. Yes, I do that. Nope, I don't do that. Yes, that's something I know about. Nope, that's not something I know about. They're testing you, or else they're just ignorant themselves to think that you know everything. Um, it's going to be one of those two ways. And the bottom line is you might know a lot, and that, quite honestly, that was part of my first couple of years in business, having worked in the field a lot. I knew a lot of basic stuff, a lot of basic stuff. Um, and it was easy for me to come off like I knew everything. And when I was younger, I tended to be that way, and I still tend to be that way somewhat, a little bit. It's a little self reflection here. But the bottom line is we all tend to be that way as handyman, because that's what we do is we know a lot about homes, and maybe some of you guys even do auto mechanics and stuff. And I do a little bit of auto mechanics, and my shop is actually on the backside of an auto shop, and I hang out there with the mechanics at the end of the day some days, and we drink a little bit, hang out, work on things, work on the bikes and whatever like that. And I do know a little bit, but I would never claim to know how to change out a homeowner's brakes. If a homeowner, I got done changing out a toilet, and a homeowner asked me to do their brakes, I would be like, no, you need to go to a mechanic. Why? Because you need to stay in your lane. You're a handyman, yes, but you need to figure out what your lane is, and you need to stay in your lane. Uh, you can't be jumping around. You're never going to be successful jumping around from job to job, from job type to job type. At first, you're going to be a little bit sporadic, and you're going to be, figuring things out and figuring out what you're good at and where you can make money. But the bottom line is, if a drywaller can install drywall at 60 cents a square foot and finish for 60 cents a square foot, and you're charging $5 a square foot because you don't know what you're doing and you're not very experienced at it, then you're not going to be very competitive in that market. You're not going to make money in that market, and you need to figure out whether or not you should be doing those particular jobs. Now, obviously, small repair jobs are a little bit different, but when you're talking about hanging houses and stuff, it's not your wheelhouse. If you want to go that way, learn that trade, then that's one thing. But if you're just going from that to um, putting up fences, putting down floors, and you're just bouncing around, changing out toilets, do a little bit of plumbing, do a little bit of electrical, and you're bouncing around from this to that, the other thing, you're going to spend most of your time transitioning from one job type to another job type, from one thing to another thing. And you're going to spend all of your time bouncing and none of your time making money. You need to figure out where it is that you're going to make money, what it is that you're good at, and you need to focus and you need to become good at one thing. Now, I mentioned in the not the previous video, the video before that, I think, about a book that I had read. It's called The One Thing. I highly recommend reading that book. As a handyman, it's the most aggravating book you're ever gonna read. You're gonna hate the guy. You're gonna hate every word of the book, because he's gonna tell you exactly what I'm telling you right now. You need to focus. You need to focus on one thing. I have been doing that and implementing that in my company. I am going from, I used to do a lot of bathroom remodels. And when I first started out, obviously, I did a lot of more handyman, general, sporadic things. Um, but now I'm getting to the point where my expertise is high enough, my skill is high enough, my sales game is high enough, the quality of my work is high enough where I'm getting into kitchens, a lot of kitchens, and I've done kitchens before, and that, but I'm getting to the point where that's all I'm selling. Kitchen remodels, cabinet installs, and all of that type thing that goes along with it. And I'm also getting to the point where I'm streamlining the process. Um, And that's part of what this book is talks about, is figuring out what is your process, what it is that you do, and what do you do well, and what can you make money at, and focusing on one thing. Now, obviously, in our business, you need to know a lot about a lot of different things. But what the focus comes down to is, what are you selling? A roofer sells roofs, but when they get there and there's storm damage, that when you get down into the southern part of the country, and they have a lot more storm damage, hail damage, that type of stuff than we do up. I live up near Buffalo, New York, and up here we don't get a lot of that. But down in that region, they get a lot of hail damage and stuff like that, and the roof companies come in and they sell to the insurance company. They sell to the homeowner, but they purchase through the insurance company. When they get that job, a lot of times along with that roof comes siding damage, window damage, maybe foundation damage, with bad drainage, gutters. A lot of things come with that, and so what the roofer becomes is a GC, to sell those other facets to a company. Maybe they'll do the siding and roofing, pretty similar. Your more experienced guys can bend the metal. Your medium experienced guys can install the siding. It's all pretty similar. So your guys should be educated enough to do that. But maybe they're not that good at doing windows. And certainly if the roof is blown open and there's interior damage, maybe they're not good at doing those interior things. If there's interior damage, you just turn to do a GC, and you're selling that work to another company that does interior work. So one of the things that you have to learn is you need to focus on one thing, sell that one thing. And then once you become good at that one thing, then you can add other things. Um, as a handyman, we kind of come at it. We're kind of coming at it at the backwards end of the shovel. Um, you know a lot of things about a lot of different areas uh, in the world in general, and how the world works, and you have a mechanical mind, and you instantly understand how to fix a refrigerator. You know how to fix the HVAC system. You know how to plumb a house. You know how to run electrical. You know a lot about electrical things. Or maybe you're an exterior guy and you do a lot of landscaping and fences and decks and that kind of thing. Or maybe you do exterior work. But all of those things I named, if you'll notice, they kind of went into three basic categories. And what I'm trying to do here is help you focus on what it is you do. If you like to do fences and decks, those two things are pretty similar. You'll wind up doing some landscaping along with those things because that comes with the territory. But what you just became is, you're an outdoor living professional. That's what you are. You do decks. You need to learn how to do patios. Um, you need to learn how to do stone work, as far as like retaining walls and that kind of thing. Those are some more advanced things that you'll learn, but you're doing fencing. You're going to do a little bit of landscaping. Don't mow lawns. You're not a lawn mowing company. Don't sell siding. You're not a siding company. Focus on what you're good at. If you do interior work splits off into two kind of different categories: mechanicals and finish and carpentry. If you do interior work, figure out what it is that you're good at. If you're running an electrical company, you're an electrician, you're running an electrical company. You're not trying to change out people's toilets. You're not trying to do things that aren't electrical. Focus. Focus. There's enough work in your lane that you can do. And as a handyman, that's really difficult when you're there changing out someone's light switch, not to say, oh, yeah, I can change out your toilet. But you got to focus. Focus, 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 focus. Because if you change out 100 outlets in one day and that's all that you sell, and this is a really bad example because outlets are really cheap, but if you go in and change out an outlet and you charge that person $200 because that's what it costs, and you sell 100 outlets and you do 100 outlets in one day and you go pop, you're in your little area, you've got your where you work figured out, okay, and all you do is change out outlets and you sell 100 of those and you go in and you do 100 of those and you're really really good at it. How much money did you just make? You just made $2,000 in a day. So that's how you make money, is you got to focus. And as you get older in the handyman business, you figure out that that's what you become. You say, these are jobs that I like, and you focus on the things that you like as you get older, and you are able to choose to do the jobs that you want to do. You can focus, and you get to choose to focus. But what you need to learn when you're younger is that you can choose to focus already. You don't have to wait till you're older and you make enough money to focus. You can choose to focus now. So focus on your thing. If you do kitchens, that's what I do. Focus on kitchens. That's all I do. I just do kitchens. Now that means that I do some electrical and some plumbing, and I do some drywall work, and I do some painting, but I focused a particular area. If you do exterior work, maybe you're into, maybe you like to do roofing. Crazy SOB. But maybe you like to do roofing and you do a little bit of siding. Focus. Focus your tool set. Focus your mental tool set. Focus your physical tool set. And I'm running out of time here. But part of that comes into focus, and I'm just going to touch on this really, really quick. But part of that is your tool set. And I just saw a post yesterday or the day before talking about how many tools do you have. Quite honestly, I don't have that many tools. I buy nice tools, I try to keep up with them, and I try to take care of my tools. I don't have a trailer. I literally, I do not own a trailer. I do not run with a trailer. All of the tools that I need on a regular basis fit in my truck, and I run a truck, and that's what I use. Sometimes I wish I had a trailer, but that is an expense that I'm not going for right now. When I buy a trailer, it's going to be a beautiful trailer, but the problem for me personally buying a trailer is I'm going to fill it up with a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to haul around a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to use. By not having a trailer, I force myself to be hyper organized and hyper focused on what do I actually need on a job on a day-to-day basis. And that's not to say that I've never showed up to a job and gone, crap, I wish I had. Because that happens sometimes. And if I had a trailer, then it probably would have been in the trailer and I probably would have been fine. But what I'm doing is I'm forcing myself to focus on what I actually need to have with me. And I'm forcing myself to be organized, and I'm forcing myself to organize my area on a regular basis. I'm forcing myself to do it. And once you start to focus on what it is you do, then it becomes very easy to focus on what it is you need. If you don't have an electrical bag in your truck because you're doing fencing, then when the customer asks you, and tries to sidetrack you to go change an outlet, you don't have the tools with you. You can't do it. You see what you did there? You just help yourself out. Alright, so I'm out of time on this video, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a second video here of this because I got a lot more notes that I want to talk about with this. Alright, so we'll see you in the next one.